Almost a millennium removed from the rise of Darth Bane and his new Order of the Sith Lords, Darth Plagueis had the perfect position to reflect upon the actions taken by the ancient Sith and where he would plan to take the Order. As the culmination of the Order's power accumulated over the previous centuries, Plagueis was able to take measure of the Sith that came before him, and find his own path forward that would make himself and his apprentice Darth Sidious the most powerful Sith that ever lived. As we'll see, as Plagueis studied more and more of the Sith who came before him, the more he found their redundancy to be foolish, ultimately culminating in a lack of respect for their methods and practices, and a conclusion that a new path had to be made. In this video expose, I will explain why Darth Plagueis didn't respect the ancient Sith, and look at why this study of the Order's most well-known Dark Lords emboldened Plagueis to attempt a new undertaking in which to execute the Sith Grand Plan, and also achieve the secret of immortality. It should first be noted that while Plagueis certainly had his criticisms of the ancient Sith, he didn't suggest a complete breakaway from their teachings, or their being mentioned. Sidious learned all about the ancient Sith and was encouraged to learn what he could, especially from Sith like Darth Bane, who Plagueis greatly respected. It wasn't a situation akin to the Brotherhood of Darkness, with Plagueis intentionally hiding knowledge and banning any attempt to mention the names of the Sith Lords who came before him. Rather, Plagueis had come to recognize that the way of the ancient Sith was over, and he and Sidious would set out to accomplish a goal that the previous Sith hadn't even dreamed of, and if they did, their attempts were pathetic. By the reign of Plagueis, the Dark Lord recognized a singular goal that was unique throughout the history of the Sith as he understood it. This was the greater goal of toppling the Force itself, to actually dominate that which animated the galaxy. Let's just say, something that Lord Mammon within the canon would not care for. Plagueis wished to enter the ranks as an enlightened elite, and replace whatever entity currently controlled the Force. For Plagueis, this goal was in complete contrast with the ancient Sith, even those within the valued era defined by the Rule of Two. These prior Sith were focused not on the mysterious realm in which the Force operated, but on the realm of the ordinary and corporal. Having set their focus only on that which they could see and easily understand, the Sith had long engaged in attempting to topple the Jedi Order and the Republic. While this was certainly a goal for Plagueis too, it really was secondary to his greater efforts with the Force through the manipulation of midichlorians. But by insulating themselves only to defeating the Republic and Jedi, Plagueis saw that the ancient Sith never fully understood the true essence of the Force, merely using it as a tool in their struggle for dominance. This apparently minor point was a monumental discovery for Plagueis. Based upon his own study of the ancient Sith, Plagueis found that their lack of true understanding of the Force caused them to believe that they were called by a higher entity to achieve power, and then became caught up in the romantic mysticism of their crusades against the Jedi. While the historical tales that emerged from these crusades were valued as legends among the Sith, with some names easily recognizable by future adherents, Plagueis was not impressed by these Sith endeavors taking place in the realm of the ordinary. It was merely a byproduct of the struggle between the light and dark, devoid of any true conception of good or evil. And even more disastrous, these ancient Sith never obtained a true understanding of the cosmic energy that animated life within the galaxy. This single focus on gaining power in the corporal world by destroying the Republic and Jedi didn't merely bring with it the unintended consequences of failing to gain wisdom about the Force. It also bogged down the ancient Sith in pathetic ritual and the equally loathsome practice of seeking out ancient relics, ornamentation, and incantations. Because the ancient Sith only wished to obtain power in the ordinary realm that they experienced firsthand, Plagueis saw traditions and obedience among the Sith Order extinguish all sparks of curiosity. Since their focus was only on the ends of power, defeating the Jedi and Republic, rather than the means of how it was achieved, the ancient Sith were happy to remain ignorant on the larger questions about the Force. Becoming enslaved to ritual and tradition, the ancient Sith didn't need to know exactly how a talisman worked, just merely that it did, or why an incantation for Sith alchemy was able to do what it did. So long as it helped to defeat the Jedi, they were valued. As these practices were passed down from Sith to Sith, true knowledge about the Force was replaced by redundancy, ignorance, and a pathetic adherence to structure. At no time did the ancient Sith appear willing to delve into the deeper scientific questions surrounding the Force itself. And for Plagueis, with each new era within the Order, the Sith became more and more encumbered by rituals, focused more on religiosity than understanding the Force. Even the powerful Sith Emperor Vitiate was a regrettable byproduct of this long descent by the Sith. Plagueis recognized that while Vitiate was able to live for 1,000 years, his complete focus on obtaining worldly power ended up trapping him between realms. As concluded by Plagueis, Vitiate's inability to provide the Sith with guidance after his death proved his point. Because the ancient Sith were focused too much on gaining power against the Jedi and Republic at the expense of knowing the Force, their true influence was ultimately minimal in the long run. And it wasn't just Vitiate. Many of the pre-Bane Sith Lords were looked upon by Plagueis with a hint of contempt, and as being responsible for their own extinction. Their attempts to achieve immortality simply by feeding off the energy of other living entities or attaching themselves to some seemingly important relic was proof enough that the ancient Sith lacked a full understanding about the Force, let alone its deepest strata and secrets. For Plagueis, the ancient Sith wallowed in ritual and tradition, a practice that even infiltrated the ranks of the Order during the Rule of Two era. None of these practices were beneficial for the Sith, and they would be rejected outright by Plagueis. Losing respect for these Sith that never saw the damage they were doing to the Order, Plagueis would free himself from these rituals and remove anything superfluous. While the ancient Sith focused primarily upon corporal power that would remove the Republic and Jedi, Plagueis would focus on a new path. He would learn the language of the midichlorians, and in doing so, unlock the secrets about the Force that were passed over for far too long by the ancient Sith. The destruction of the Jedi and Republic would certainly come, but Plagueis would also seek to control not just the galaxy, but the Force itself. So there we have it, why Darth Plagueis didn't respect the ancient Sith and how these views influenced his path with the Force. We love making these videos, so why not subscribe for more fun Star Wars theories and discussions. Also, if you enjoyed the video, think about giving a like or leaving a comment. Or perhaps follow us on Twitter, @SW Reading Club, for updates regarding the channel. Or support the channel through Patreon for access to exclusive rewards and discussions. If not for me... for being tough but fair.